Thanks for everyone all around after that good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Maybe it doesn't seem like these two are going to be friends anytime soon, but Pete Dunne certainly earning the respect of Sheamus. And how could he not, Sam? What Pete Dunne was able to prove tonight in that match was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Sheamus sounded like he was ready to celebrate at all. He almost sounded somber. I think at some point in that match, Pete Dunne knocked the soul out of Sheamus, and Sheamus was able to use that experience and that familiarity with the Donnybrook to pull out the W. But ultimately, you look at the damage, the war that Pete Dunne went through, all what? To prove who he is not. And in that regard, he was successful in that match against Sheamus.
Yeah, and we heard also during Monday Night Raw tonight, Seth freaking Rollins made a surprising return last week on Raw, but tonight he was back and he sent a message to Big Bronson Reed. He will be ready for Big Bronson Reed next time.
I love this Seth Rollins. This Seth Rollins came out not only last week and spoiling Bronson Reed's good time, but this week taking the moment away from CM Punk, showing up with a chip on his shoulder like he owned the show that he once named after himself, and reminding Bronson Reed that there are consequences to his actions. Now look, Bronson Reed has been on a warpath ever since Seth Rollins left. I hope that Seth Rollins is familiar with what Bronson Reed has been doing while Seth has been gone.
Well, you talked about CM Punk. We saw him earlier on tonight on Monday Night Raw, coming off an unbelievable Hell in a Cell match this past weekend at Bad Blood, where we saw a little bit of everything. You talk about a historic night. That's exactly what we got. Let's get you caught up on everything that went down this weekend in Atlanta. The entire landscape of WWE has changed since Saturday at Bad Blood. You take a look at the Judgment Day. They've been impacted, Sam. The final boss made his return. CM Punk told us earlier on tonight that he will be taking some time away. What's your big headline coming away from Bad Blood?
I mean, I can't believe unreal.
All the legends were in the house. We saw Bill Goldberg as well.
He skipped the rail.
Atlanta.
He hopped over the rail. He almost confronted Gunther.
Yes, we will be talking about Bad Blood for weeks to come, but we got to step aside for a quick time out. Coming up on the other side, the guests, they all join us. Stick around.
For the men and the women, whoever holds the WWE Championship will face whoever holds the World Championship.
Well, that's the exciting thing about WWE is the championship landscape is always changing. Next week on Monday Night Raw. Thank you so much, Jackie. Io Sky and Kairi Sane of Damage Control fired up. They would love to be back at the top of the division, but how do you overcome the athleticism of two superstars like Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill?
You do what Kairi Sane and Io Sky do best. You get up in the sky, the genius of the sky. You get that teamwork that really can't be beat. Damage Control was put together for just that reason, but you're not wrong about the athleticism. What I think they also have to consider is the fact that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill lost the Women's Tag Team Championship once before, and as just somebody who's observing, it seems like they have tightened their grip on those titles way more than they even had it before. It's like they know what it feels like to have lost it once. They don't want it to happen again. It's
almost like losing the titles has made this group of Bianca Belair, this tag team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill stronger. Do you see it that way?
You would hope so. You would hope so. If you're not learning from your mistakes, then they're a complete waste of your time and you're bound to make them again. That said, Io Sky and Kairi Sane have been fighting for this opportunity and asking for this match and asking for this match. If they lose it, well, then they've been making mistakes the entire way down this road. This is a must-win scenario for both teams.
I love a must-win scenario. We still have a lot more to get to, but we're going to step aside for a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to hear from American Made, also the New Day and the Final Testament are joining us a bit later on in the show.
All the teams.
Tomorrow night on NXT, it's a dream match for Javon Evans as he takes on one of his idols, Randy Orton, in his hometown of St. Louis.
Here's what's interesting about Javon Evans and Randy Orton. For so much of Randy Orton's career, he was known as the Legend Killer. So what happens when the Legend Killer gets into the ring with a hungry 23-year-old and realizes that he's the one who's become the legend? What happens?
We're going to find out tomorrow on the CW. Also, we will get to see the ruler of NXT taking on the Don Fam. We saw them last week in Chicago, but now it's all about the action.
It is all about the action, and I don't remember ever seeing Tony D'Angelo this confident, this sure of himself. I don't think it's going to help him when the fists start flying. Obafemi is unstoppable regardless of what family is behind you.
Yeah, Obafemi has certainly made an impact since he's been on NXT. And speaking of making an impact, A-Town Down Under does that everywhere that they show up. Will they be able to take the NXT Tag Team Championships from Fraxium?
You have an NXT Tag Team Championship match with two teams that both have had a lot of inner turmoil plaguing them. This is going to come down to which team can get on the same page for one night. Tomorrow night is all you need to be on the same page for. You can get out of St. Louis with the NXT Tag Team Championship.
And how about this one? Last week on NXT, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill made a surprise appearance. Tomorrow night, they're teaming up with Kalani Jordan to take on Fatal Influence.
Yeah, Fatal Influence has had a goal of getting attention on themselves, making as much noise as humanly possible, but maybe they made a little too much noise. Maybe they got a little too much attention because they have drawn out some beasts to watch the back of Kalani Jordan tomorrow.
Well, St. Louis was making a lot of noise tonight on Monday Night Raw during the battle for the Intercontinental Championship as the new IC champ Jey Uso defended his title against Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods has been so frustrated for weeks. And Sam, tonight after falling to Jey Uso in the Intercontinental Championship match, it seems it's reached a boiling point.
I don't understand. I mean, the nice guy Kofi Kingston routine must get exhausting to be around all the time. It's really, and I love Kofi Kingston. I'm a Kofi Kingston fan, but the idea that he doesn't understand that his best friend doesn't want to be told what to do and turn the other cheek every time he loses, it seems to be totally lost on Kofi. And now it's led to Kofi Kingston finding himself in a position where he's got to deal with Braun Breaker next week. If he had taken Xavier Woods' advice and just said, I'm Paul and this is between y'all, you guys take care of this, he wouldn't have to deal with it. But now, because Kofi Kingston got involved in Jey Uso's business, Kofi Kingston is going to be looking across the ring at Braun Breaker, who moves about 120 miles per hour directly into your stomach.
Well, Xavier Woods could have simply just shook Jey Uso's hand.
Would have, should have, could have. But Megan, we can talk about what's happening 1 week from now all we want. What I'm excited about is what's happening in December. I cannot wait. The show that brought so many WWE fans, the WWE for the very first time, returns. Saturday night's main event is going to, and we're going to be talking about this later. I mean, this is, this is my show. This is this is where Andre did the unthinkable, but Megan, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we still have a lot to talk to you about here, but we got to step aside for a quick timeout. Coming up on the other side, we're going to hear from American Made. Also, the Final Testament joins us in just a bit. Thank you so much, Kathy. Scoops Kelly.
Scoops Kelly got it again.
That's what they call her. We're so glad to have you back here with us in the studio. Megan Morant and Sam Roberts. American Made. They've certainly been on a roll, and the confidence continues to rise within the group. Could you see the Creed brothers as tag team champions?
Of course I can see it. I mean, look at them. They're absolute beasts. Two specimens made in the good old US of A. I mean, look, there was a rocky road to get here, but we don't talk about old stuff. We talk about what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that Chad Gable has assembled the group of his dreams, the group that he's always wanted to have. And it does appear to me that once everybody is on the same page and following Chad Gable's plan, they end up in a good spot. And I'd like to say, even though we don't have to, thank you to Chad Gable for the hero, being the hero that we need. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to Chad Gable. But what's also been going on is Karrion Kross getting involved in other people's business. We're going to discuss this a little bit more, but first, let's hear from the Final Testament. I'm just having a hard time trusting the words that are coming out of Karrion Kross's mouth.
What?
I mean, first he was getting involved with the New Day and now getting involved with The Miz, and we've seen a lot of changes within both The Miz and the New Day.
Maybe necessary changes.
Okay.
Ultimately, Karrion Kross is an empath. Karrion Kross is somebody who sees beyond himself. Maybe Karrion Kross is a shoulder that those superstars cry on. An empath. He understands what's going on. I mean, purpose. He wants to remind people who he is, and maybe every now and then somebody needs somebody to remind you of who you are before you can do that.
Reminded us how genuine he is when he went and apologized to The Miz for this misunderstanding that clearly was not a misunderstanding.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, R-Truth can be genuine, whatever that means, and The Miz can be a former WrestleMania main eventer. Okay? That's where The Miz is solidifying his standing. Somebody that should be taken seriously. Not somebody who's there to sing backup
But then why
for
does he need
R-Truth
Karrion
entrance.
Kross?
Hey, Karrion Kross just said it. He doesn't need Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross is a friend to multiple superstars in the locker room. And by the way, he took a poll of everybody there, asking them if he did anything wrong. They all said no. Do you think Karrion Kross did anything wrong?
You know, Sam, you're a father and you have children, and when they bring a friend home, is there ever one that you say, I just don't like that friend? That's what Karrion Kross feels like.
No, first of all, my children would never bring somebody uncouth into the home. They're raised better than that. And second of all, Karrion Kross looks cool, hangs out with cool people, and helps. He helps. When people have no one else to talk to, he's there for them. I don't understand what your problem with Karrion Kross is.
I don't trust Karrion Kross or the Final Testament for that matter. But let's get you caught up on this week's Slam at 7.
Ridiculous.
Sexy Red in the house from St. Louis. Will be back tomorrow night on the CW for NXT. But big news coming out of the interview between Jackie Redmond and Jey Uso. He said we're gonna get to see that match run back, Sam.
That's the last thing that I'd want to do.
Yeah.
The last thing that I'd want to do after stealing that Intercontinental Championship off the waist of Braun Breaker and catching another spear for it would be to get back in the ring with him. But that's probably why I've never been the Intercontinental Champion. I stand behind this desk.
That is not the only reason, but Ollie will let you believe that. Also tonight in the main event on Monday Night Raw, the World Heavyweight title was on the line. Sami Zayn had been looking for this opportunity. Gunther finally gave it to him, and it went down tonight on Raw. Gunther is your World Heavyweight Champion, and Sami Zayn wanted this match for weeks. Sam, I asked you a few weeks back if Gunther was scared of taking on Sami Zayn after he fell to him at WrestleMania. You told me Gunther is a changed man. I think that was on display tonight in the main event.
Yeah, look, Sami Zayn is the one, I think, that needed that question answered. So many in the WWE Universe, I don't want to speak for you, but I think yourself included, thought the question was, is Sami Zayn the only person that can defeat Gunther? The real question was, can Sami Zayn defeat Gunther twice, especially when he's this Gunther? And the answer is no. The only person who would before Crown Jewel, we're looking at Cody Rhodes, the WWE Undisputed Champion, versus Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. And quite frankly, I don't think either one of them have ever faced somebody like the other.
Yes, I would agree with that statement. You know, I was so impressed with Cody Rhodes tonight because he's been through a lot, and that would be an understatement, but he was just so focused on watching this World Heavyweight Championship match and seeing who would take on at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, and he was avoiding a lot of questions. He was avoiding a lot of people. I want to talk to you that actually Cody Rhodes was in the running for potentially being in my top 5 of the night.
Oh.
And unfortunately, because he wouldn't talk about or address maybe the other problems going on in his life, Cody Rhodes didn't make it. But do you want to know?
Wow.
Sam's top 5 of the night. Here it is, coming in at number 5, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is first on the list because of the way he came back to Monday Night Raw, taking CM Punk's moment from him, going after Bronson Reed. And on my list is, of course, Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is my number 4 star of the night because of the way he handled business. Braun Breaker showed up and
You know, your obsession with Dominic Mysterio has become concerning, not only to me, but to the WWE Universe.
nobody's concerned.
We are
Everybody
all-
gets it.
we are
And
all
it's not an
concerned.
obsession, by the way.
It's clearly an
I have 5
obsession.
stars tonight. Dominic
He
Mysterio
was
is
on
clearly
the
the
show
number 1
for
star tonight.
maybe a minute and a half.
Isn't it amazing that that's all he needs? That's all the guy needs to make the impact that he made. He's incredible, this Dominic Mysterio. I can't believe it.
Well, Monday Night Raw was certainly incredible despite your terrible takes, but that's going to do it for this.
That wasn't terrible at all.
Thank you all so much for watching. He is Sam Roberts. I am Megan Moran. We will see you guys next week.